Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. Good afternoon in this case. Today now Wednesday, number 3 days for this month of May. I want to send out this message in response to an audio where one of our sister, a very strong patriot, strong Ambazonian girl, Erica Zara, either make an audio, and I'll play part of the audio and I'll respond to it. But before I do that, I want to let Ambazonians understand something. Sometimes democracy is noisy, but that is the beauty about democracy. It brings out the best of us when we debate things based on substance. And even sometimes when it even goes out of substance, the bottom line is when people interchange, they have these exchanges, it can only benefit our people because they tend to divulge certain information that end up to serve the public interests, and measures are always taken later on to safeguard from mistakes that have been made or that have been identified during this debate or exchanges. So those things are very healthy. So it might be very uncomfortable for our people to hear us going to and forth, but they should know that it is for their own good. And it's messy, but especially living from Cameroon, we would find this very uncomfortable because that is a country where they don't debate. But in Ambazonia, we should always look things the brighter side. So I'll respond to Erica Zara, and I'll play part of her audio. It is strange that the audio is directed to me, but the audio was not sent to me or probably shared in a forum where I am not there. Or even if I'm there, probably I have archived the WhatsApp forum. So I did not get the audio from Zara, but a couple of people, 6 of them, have forwarded me this audio, which I want to respond to. So please listen.
Karma is real. I just want to make this remark about Capo Daniel's resignation and the propaganda, the lies, where he's going about making it public. Capo Daniel, if he asks you one question, if you remember the time where we sabotaged Tapang Ivo and we blackmail him, you be sabotage Tapang Ivo, say he work for La Republique. Did you have any proof? No. You know, we get any proof, you know, bring any evidence, you just come for public, can sabotage Ivo. General Tapang say he work for La Republique. How you be feel? Where you be think, Capo Daniel? Ma really ask you this question.
So now the good question that way, Erica Zara, ask him, and I go answer that question. I go use this opportunity for answer that question. And the problem with us Ambazonian is that we hear things in our own way. Somebody will say one thing and you will hear another thing. I take what I do very, very seriously. When I go out and criticize somebody, we have this group mentality that if we say things or do things depend on who we support, and it guides us in everything we do, which is a wrong way. We should always be guided by facts. So if Ambazonian, I criticize somebody, for some people that will mean that that person have become my enemy. If I criticize somebody, the person will say that this one is working to La Republique. And they don't understand why you can criticize people that you work with. But that is how progressive and civilized society they operate. You can criticize people even when you work with them. And people should never always take criticism to mean you have labeled somebody. I have never said that Tapang Ivo, they work for La Republique. I have asked serious questions about Tapang Ivo's behavior and what does it serve. Does it serve Ambazonia or it serve La Republique? That is the question I have asked Tapang Ivo, and I'll get to that shortly. But my sister, Erica Zara, when you are sleeping with somebody, sometimes it taints the way you react or you behave. In America, they have what they call you recuse yourself. So I doubt whether you coming out now talking about this thing is because you are sleeping with Tapang Ivo or not. But I think you shouldn't be doing this, especially when it concerns your boyfriend or somebody who have slept with you. You just tend, it just look like you are just saying things because you have had this type of relationship with him. That aside, you, Erica Zara, You have brought to me a couple of names of people that you have claimed are working with La Republic or are people who do not support the struggle, that I should send soldiers behind these people. When you send me those names, I take my job seriously and I use the power, authority, and influence that I have as a person very seriously. And the soldiers that relies on me for influence, on advice and instruction, and sometimes command and control, they trust me because I always do due diligence. Amongst all the people you have brought to me to send boys behind, 90% of them turn out not to be people who you claim they were. But I always assume that you are a patriot, and I see the way you act and how you support Ambazonia financially and your time and everything, your image out there. And I always believe that whatever you do, my sister, you are doing it for your country, and you are doing so with the best intention. So I've never come back to you or go to public to say that Rika Zara said that this person is working with La Republic, this person does not support the struggle, just because it turned out to me after I do my finding that the person is not what you claim to be. So understand this about Tapang Ivo. He's my personal friend. I share password I've shared my password with him. And this is a problem with Tapang Ivo. Like many of the activists that were close and have conversation with Agbobala have always approached Ambazonians right from Kondengi to tell them that we should ask for federalism as a means to get to independence, and we should abandon our independent quest. And that advice he has given it to Ivo and to everybody he has met in this struggle. So when Ivo was behaving in a way that were not helping the ache of sea, I can tell you that 80% of the cabinet members and members of the ADF wanted Tapang Ivo to go. They actually demanded that he left when he left. And I'll give you the reasons why. When our soldiers who died, may their soul rest in power, 39 of them, that is very personal to me, because those are boys, some of whom I know in Bamenda. Those are the boys we count on to free our country. When this boy went to Bui, during that time where this Vis Zeka in Germany and this Luista and all these people of Sako and Chris Anu, they were asking those boys to be killed. Tapang Ivo was instigating and providing material that supports their case, even against direct instruction from the ADF. We never send ADF soldiers to go and kill their brothers in Bui. But Tapang Ivo's reaction was saying basically that our soldiers should do the opposite of what we were telling our soldiers behind. It was very, very critical because those Luisa and those Sako and Chris Anu people used Tapang Ivo's word to justify their action. Not that Tapang actually might be doing so knowingly or not, but he was instigating those infighting. Our approach have always been choosing reconciliation because we wanted every soldier alive. So those things that he did had serious consequences. Tapang Ivo also usually uses exactly what Mark Barata used, which is what we always criticize: comparative analysis when it comes to Ambazonian soldiers that instigates infighting. All those things are well known, are well documented, and have been criticized within that organization as I speak to you. So it is not something that I say. It is something that many people say, but we don't say that he's working with La Republic. It just come out, or you perceive it in that way. Does not mean that that is exactly what we say. Tapang Ivo have done tremendous. I mean, he is one of the most influential people who have radicalized our youth and make us to be able to launch self-defense. You can never take that from Tapang Ivo, and he will always be respected for that, including Mark. I criticize Mark every time, but I can tell you that we still consult. I still pick up his call, he pick up my call, and on special issue we discuss. So always listen to what we say or what I say properly. Don't perceive what I say, but listen to what I say. And if you have a voice or a proof that I said that Tapang Ivo is working for La Republic, bring it. I have asked the question, what does the interests of what Tapang is saying or doing serve? Definitely it does not serve Ambazonia for most of the time. Sometimes he promotes Cameroonianism in his exposure or what he put on social media, and somebody who is influential, I am concerned about some of the things and the line in which he promotes them. And I'm a critical person, and I criticize him publicly and privately for these things. I still go for Tapang Ivo for advice. I still go for him for advice, and we still talk together. So we should always know that our friendship in Ambazonia should be guided by what brought us together: the love for our people, our quest for freedom, and the aspiration of our people. Every time we have conflict in this issue, or we see each other falling short in this issue, we should hold each other account. I will not just say because he is my friend and then he is going out there making statements that are instigating infighting, I will stay quiet. No, I wouldn't say that. If Tapang Ivo had suffered psychologically, as you said, because I was critical of him, he could address those things. He could address them. If he goes out there and like, for example, the last time we came out, he said that we went to the issue in Canada. He was saying that it was Diango. It was not Cameroon. We were not talking with Cameroon. All those things were lies. They were not truthful. They were not true things that happened. Those things were lies that he was saying. But he has always said that he does propaganda in his own way. He has his own way. And I think that Ambazonia have developed a relationship with him in that sense. But don't come out there because you have seen that I've stepped out of the egg of sea. As we always talk, you want buy money case, and you put out things that are not accurate. Do your homework, do your research. And like I said, you should remove yourself when you have this type of love interest in issues that you deal with when it comes to Ambazonia. If I was to have a girl that I'm sleeping with in Ambazonia and there are issues around her, I would just recuse myself. I wouldn't put my mouth in it or to come and say things that are not true. So Erica Zara, hear this very critical from me. If it barks like a dog, as in America they talk, it is a dog and should be treated as a dog. If Tapang Ivo come out and is putting material that does not help Ambazonia, then people should question him. What are you doing? What is your motivation? Including me. I have put out some things also that dampens the spirit of our people. And people have criticized me and they have they have questioned me, and I received those criticism with humility and I respond to them. My resignation, for example, a lot of people, and I knew it will shock a lot of people and it may shaken the conviction of many people. And people have criticized me for that, and I have taken responsibility and I've told our people, yes, it was necessary because the damage which I saw requires that magnitude of action from my side. So I respond to things in content. But when people are the back and for anybody the way the person again for me, I take you the way you take me. I'm a counter puncher. So I don't take things lying down. You hit me, I hit you twice. And I think sometimes we need that in this struggle because the enemy is a savage. Look at what they are doing. Kunyam Titus, Moja, Clovis, and all these scavengers who are calling for the mass killing of our civilians, collective punishment, genocide as a whole. You cannot fight them behaving like a pastor. Now condition they make Njangai back bend. So we have become somehow a product of what we have faced in this struggle. So trust me, I don't go out to lie or blackmail or say things that are unsubstantiated about anybody in our struggle. When I do, call it to my attention and I will address it properly. And if you reason, I will respond to you with reasoning. But if you ignore reasoning and you just create a wall of your own, then we have a problem. We can never be in a society and progress if we support or not support things based on my group, my friend, your friend. But in national issue, in state issue, it should always be about patriotism. Am I doing the right thing in my conviction for my country, or is it for my own ego? And we should always kill our own ego and make sure our own country stand, our people have a chance. So in everything I do, I don't put my own personal ambition or personal ego first. If I was doing that, I could have find my corner with Siseko and sit there because I had a very good corner there. Remember that I was responsible for bringing the common law bar association into Skakuf. Not even Skakuf, because they didn't come to Skakuf at that time. We had the governing council before it was transformed into the IG. I was responsible for that. I attended the conclave. I was part of the founders of that group. Unfortunately, now we look at it in hindsight and we can always make that correction. So I never just get comfortable with where I am or with my own position, looking for my place. And if you do that, you always make mistake, because at the end of the day, what will all this thing benefit us? All this title, all this group, and all this wonderful friendship we have had, this beautiful flag, this beautiful country, our children singing our national anthem. Just imagine what a tragic it will be if we do not win. We must put winning La Republique and having our objective as a free country first, even when it is inconvenient, even when it means that we go against the people we love or go against our own patriot or our own groups. It is okay to do that. But if you think that I have really said something, I want you to do a homework. Go back and check it. I can assure you that I am a human being and I can make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, I will rectify them. But I am somebody of a conviction. Once I know something that is right, I stand on that right thing. And I'm ready to bet my all on that right thing. I'm a servant. I'm a man of faith. And I will always walk by principle, irrespective of the challenges, irrespective of how inconvenient it is, because at the end of the day, one day we will all leave this war, and I want to leave this war confident in myself, validated by myself and my God before you. And I will walk with my head high, and I will hold all this principle, no matter what happens. Like I said, I've given you a challenge. Before you make assumption, go and look for the evidence so that you are not just hearing what you are hearing. In Ambazonia, we are in the only place where you can put your thing. If you put your telephone or your money for table, you turn your back. Your friend, some person, Tiva, you ask and say, you keep your thing here and take them. They will convince you. You even think that you are the one who have mental problem and say that maybe you did not even keep the thing there. But that mentality do not work with people like me. It doesn't work. I've lived most of my adult life here in Hong Kong. I left Ambazonia about 2003. I've gone to many places. And I've seen how people progress in life. I've seen how corporate world works. And I can always testify to you that science, truth, principles will always triumph. If the egg of C, they fail to stay on principle as they have always been, and they choose to go vendetta, it will never work, because the truth always prevails. The truth does not save anybody. It serves the person who stands for it. So I hope this answers your question, and I hope this serves you well and our people as well, because all these exchanges we are doing is part of the history of our country, and people learn, and we hope it will shape the type of country we are going to have eventually. I always said that the Americans, when they were setting up their constitution, one of the writers in some of the book I was researching says that let us protect our country against ourselves. There is a need for us to build organizations and a country where principle triumph every other thing, facts triumph every other thing. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above reproach. The Second Amendment in America was put in place because the president did not want to answer question. He thought that he was above everybody, and the people said no. You must be responsible. You must be able to be accountable to the people. We must be able to have access to you. So I will always respond, no matter how people think. Sometimes those thoughts are a product of our own past, which have not been good, full of colonialism and other stuff. So some of our people say, Kapu Daniel, you put out a lot and you say a lot. It is because they are not used to how the world works. the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, have gone online live more than any Ambazonian activist. God bless you all.